Namaste everyone. Welcome back to LiveStronger. Today in our transformation journey, we are going to work on our shoulders again. This would be the third count, which we are going to basically exercise our shoulders. So in our first two workouts, we try to really work more on building the strength, more on focusing on using Namaste everyone, welcome back to Live Stronger. Today in our transformation journey, we are going to work on our shoulders again. I hope your legs from the previous day's workout are completely recovered. If you are still a bit sore, use foam rolling and static stretching to kind of give a boost to your recovery. Otherwise, sleep and good nutrition should get you there. So in the third week of the workouts, I'm going to introduce a new kind of a stretch to all of you. So hope that helps you in your journey too in terms of building strength and transformation. So without any delay, let's begin with our dynamic stretching, our warm-ups, and then our actual workouts. Let's go. Stretching, we are going to do the greatest stretch. 4 repetitions each side, maybe 5 today. Why not? Let's go to 5 repetitions each side today. I hope by now you're very familiarized with this stretch and how it works. We just move through this stretch. We don't have to pause, stay in the posture for long. This is more of like creating mobility, feeling the stretch, and moving through it dynamically. It doesn't take much of your time, so I strongly recommend you do it on a daily basis, and you will notice the difference in yourself very soon when it comes to this stretch with consistency. So for the last repetition, I'm going to do a bit of drop. So basically, I'm going to push my leg out and try to touch my elbow down by dropping, feeling the great stretch, and then finish it with the twist. Same with the other side. Move my leg out a little bit, try to touch my elbows down. If you have better flexibility than me, you would be easily able to drop down. I am not yet there, so it'll take a little bit more practice for me. So we are done with our dynamic stretching. Now we move on to our warm-up exercises. First warm-up, we are going to lay down on our chest and do behind the back arm raises. You can do this exercise on the floor also. I have shown it in my previous videos, but I like to do it on a bench because it gives me a little bit of more stretch and gives me a little bit of more range of motion. On floor I'm a bit limited, but that doesn't mean the floor one is not effective, because most of the warm-up is happening in this range. So as you prefer, you can do it on a bench if you don't like laying down on the floor, or you can just lay on the floor and do it. Just keep my head out so that my mic remains free from wind. If you remember, you just lay flat back, grab a couple of lightweight dumbbells, and you just push them back up. 2, 3, 4, 5, and instantly, if you have very not very, but a bit of locked up shoulders, you should instantly start feeling your great delts fire up. Make sure you keep your palms facing up, not facing down or sideways. That gives you a better squeeze and activation of your great delt. just about few reps. If you're unable to move any weight, you can just do it without any weight. We often don't move our shoulder in this movement because our shoulder is always moving front or the sides. We don't move behind much, so our rate delts are usually a bit weaker. So it's important to train them well to help us stabilize weight when we are lifting weight over our head, even during our daily lifestyle. So after one set, go for my second set. In warm up, you don't have to go really heavy, just lightweight, feeling the blood flow, feeling the area warming up. Oh, that felt good. My delts are really fired up. So that's first warm up. Let's go for our second warm up. For our second warm up, we are going to do the plate rotations around our head. I exactly don't remember what this exercise is called, but it's just rotating a plate around your head. If you're wondering why I'm wearing a cap today, is because just wash my hair, and if I don't use a cap, it's going to disturb me in my workouts. So I'm just using a cap to keep my hair in place. And then let's begin. Take the plate, hold it just above, at a close distance. You don't have to hold it wide out, just nearby. And you take it around your head, bring it forward. We do up to 20 repetitions. This exercise warms up our entire shoulder joint because all our muscles are now working to enable this movement and also stabilize the weight while it is going around our head. You might have seen this particular exercise not only as a warm-up but also as one of the working sets, because if you increase the load, there's a lot more demand which has been placed on your shoulders. So it also works as a great exercise, but in my program for now, I prefer to do it as warm-up exercise only. Maybe in future this could definitely come around as a working exercise. It's important to make sure that you focus on the joint and the muscle which you're trying to warm up. You should positively feel a little bit of warmth in the area and a slight bit of tightness because there's a lot of blood flowing into the muscle to go through the movement. So that's a good sign, a little bit of warmth. If you feel any kind of discomfort or pain, there might be something which you want to, look up or consult a professional regarding if you're feeling a pinching pain, because this would kind of bring it in front because of the external and internal rotation which you go through during the warm-up. So we are done with our second warm-up. Now we go to our third warm-up. For our third warm-up, we are going to do the weight delt openers. So today I'm just using an elastic tube. You can use an elastic band too. It's nothing different. Just use the least amount of resistance because it's just a warm-up. So I did explain this exercise in my previous videos also. I'm just going to go through it again. You just hold the band, both your arms, keep your elbows tucked in. You can also use any kind of a towel or a foam roller to give you that feedback of keeping it tucked in, because if your elbows start flaring out, the foam roller or the towel will just fall off. So foam roller might be very thick, a towel is more advisable. So you can keep it, but you hold the towel while doing this exercise. So if at any point your elbows flare out, the towel drops, so you know that your elbows have flared out. I don't use it because I got habituated to doing this exercise and I feel a rare delt activation immediately. So simple, keep your palms facing up, elbows tucked in, shoulders de-shrugged, and then slowly open your shoulder, create external rotation by contracting your right delt. So if you see from the side, I start feeling my rear delt immediately thanks to the first warm-up which we have done. So they are already very well activated. If you don't feel your rear delts, you can try lowering the hand a little bit more and continuing the motion, and you would connect to it. So if you have to see from behind, this is how it looks. So that's our third warm-up, making sure our rear delts are really fired up and good to go for our overhead presses. You can also do the same exercise on a cable machine, loading it on the least amount of weight possible and just pulling the cable machine while holding it and just pulling it out. If you don't have the elastic tubes, you can just use the cable machine, but there you have to do one arm at a time because of the restriction of the movement. So you just hold it and then pull it out, and at the same amount of activation, if possible, turn your palms up, gets it a little bit more of activation. So that's one alternative, but otherwise we are done with this. Now we move on to our working sets. For our first exercise, we are going to do overhead presses with dumbbells. I have again chosen a weight which was challenging the last time also. So from here, then I'm going to decide how to proceed with the weight progression, whether to drop or keep increasing the weight. Now remember, you don't want to lift something extremely heavy. You want to keep it in control at all times. Shoulders build better when you have more stability, because to ensure we have a lot of mobility in our shoulders, we are anatomically compromising a little bit of on stability. So we have to make sure that we take a weight which we can control and be stable on. That said, take a challenging weight so you can build on strength. A bit confusing to approach it that way, but you would understand it the more number of times you do it. If you don't remember how we take the dumbbells, we take the dumbbells up, make sure our elbows are facing forward, hands are tucked in, we don't want to go wide out, stay close, okay, and then just push up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and hold there for 4 to 5 seconds. And put it down. So that's what we are going to do every set. The last repetition, we're going to get to the lower spot and hold there for a few seconds to feel a stretch while trying to control the weight. It's an approach which I believe will help us. Basically, I don't want to dive into too much of science. I'm also not absolutely clear how this works. I'm still studying it and trying to experiment and understand it more, but it does work. So last rep, we hold the dumbbells for a few seconds and then demount. The weight which I was using was 15 kilos each hand, so it was quite challenging for me to complete the 10 reps, especially on my left hand. It was unable to push in a straight path. So I'm going to drop down a weight to ensure stability and continue with my reps. So we take a break and go back for a second set. For a second set, just dropped a couple of kilos so that I make sure I have more stability and I can push till the 12th rep. So let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and hold. Just for a few seconds and then place your dumbbells down. So you can do the same thing if you are using a barbell too. If you prefer using a barbell, you can do a few reps. Now the last rep, just hold the barbell for 4 to 5 seconds and then rack it or demount it. So yeah, we're done with our set 2. We take a short break and go for our set 3. My third set, I'm going to show you how it looks if I do this exercise while you look at me watching sideways, and this would kind of help you visualize how a proper position looks like and how an imbalance or an incorrect position looks like. So if the thing mostly I do watch people doing is they hold it like this and try to push up like this. So that is not advisable for your shoulder. It might cause micro traumas in your shoulder ball and socket joint, inside your ball and socket joint, which could lead to injuries. So the way you have to position it is this way. See how you can see my entire side bicep, not my elbows. So this is how you want it to be facing from the side, and then push up. Almost hit failure there. I'm going to hold for a couple of seconds. My last rep, load did, and then demount. So the weight became challenging midway. So for my fourth set, I will consider dropping a weight a little bit more to ensure I get my number of repetitions. So you can follow a similar progression. You don't always need to have a progressive overload. You can start with a challenging weight and then drop down. Nothing wrong with progressive overload. It's a good approach if you're someone absolutely new and trying to learn the exercise and trying to build strength. But starting with a challenging weight is always fun. So let's take a break and go for our fourth set. For our fourth set, again, I dropped my weight a little bit. Now there are two things which I wanted to mention. You can do this exercise while standing. I prefer seated because I feel a little bit more control or more demand from my core in terms of keeping my body stable, taking my legs out of my equation. You can do it while standing. It will still demand a lot from your core, but at times you might watch or find yourself pushing with your knees a little bit to get the weight high. So that's one reason I like to do it seated. When you're doing it seated, if your gym has a military press bench, which is basically a bench with a bit of back support, use that. It's good. Initially, it gives you a lot of support on your lower back while you're doing this movement, because we tend to lean onto our lower back when lifting weight over our head if it's a little bit too much. If not, you can do it just seated. So let's begin. Weights close to our body, elbows are tucked in, and push up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and hold. See how the weight felt a bit easier because I already came from a challenging weight. So moving this weight wasn't very demanding, and I could finish my set on a good note. So that's it for exercise number 1. We take a break. You can take up to 2 minutes of break, even 3 minutes if you're a bit tired, and then we go to our next exercise. What I have done is I have basically taken my resistance tubes, the elastic tubes which I have, and I have mounted it to the Smith machine at the lowest angle possible to do cable lateral raises. Now if you do have a cable machine at your disposal, you can use the cable machine to do it. You don't have to rack much weight, keep the weight at minimum and focus on repetitions and the stretch. Since I don't have it, I'm using this. If you don't have both of them, you can do the regular lateral raises. That's absolutely fine. But the reason why I like cable a little bit because it keeps the tension constant. Because with dumbbell, once your hand is down, the tension is zero, the gravity is zero. Only when your hand is high is where the tension is. With cable is constantly pulling you across, so there's constant tension. It's simple. It's not I don't like, but you can do it this way, but I prefer to pull it from behind. So let's begin. Always make sure the cable is in tension at the longest stretched position for your lateral delt, and then you pull. Again, make sure the load is focused on your shoulder entirely and your elbow is not loaded to make sure you don't get elbow pain. Let the cable go completely behind every rep to feel that stretch. So now I'm going to switch. You can see how it looks from the behind when I'm doing it. So making sure the cable behind me in tension, and then I raise up. The resistance is up to you. You need to make sure it is not very easy or not extremely difficult for you to even raise your hand. Make sure your body is always straight. The biggest advantage with this exercise is you start feeling the activation of your delt most instantly. You must have seen, you can also do front raises with this kind of setup, but since we already have just done the overhead pushes, I want to work more on my lateral head than my front delt, because the first exercise which we have done, the overhead presses, are a bit front delt focused. So I'm going to take a few seconds of a break and then start again immediately, because we are doing one arm at a time and the resistance is not actually much. On that note, maybe the next set, because already taken enough break. So again, make sure the cable is in tension, the hand goes all the way behind you, and then pull. Don't have to lift or pull extreme high amount of weight. It's more about the repetitions and the break in between. If you keep the tension enough, your shoulders will grow. Definitely a favorite of mine, because I don't have to load heavy, I don't have to risk much to gain the work on my muscle. It's a very simple, easy exercise to do. Oh, my shoulders are all fired up. I want to level up a bit, so I'm going to increase the resistance. So just give me a couple of minutes and we'll come back. Again, our third set, I have increased the resistance. So a little bit more work, but that's fine. Let's push. Starting position, you can almost see my arm on the other side, complete stretched out, and then pull. Yes, that's challenging, but it's a good weight. I can control it and I can raise it all the way. Remember, with the cable, there is constant tension, so you can here afford to take your hand a little bit higher. And the last rep, just hold for a couple of seconds. Start feeling the extreme burning sensation and then relax. Now I switch sides immediately. Don't have to take a break. Hand was resting all the time. So pull. Last rep, we hold. Ooh, that felt great. We take a short break and then go for our fourth set. For our fourth set, keep the resistance same. Take the resistance band behind. Let your arm completely come to the other side. Feel that stretch on your shoulder, and from here, pull it up. Simple. You can keep the other hand relaxed. It's not doing anything. Your core is working. Make sure your body remains straight. Don't let your body turn, because that would lessen the amount of tension on your shoulder, on your delt. Last couple of reps. Last rep, we are going to hold. Now we switch. See from behind. This goes. Let your arm completely go. Feel the stretch on the shoulder and then pull. You can touch your shoulder to feel your muscles working. Give yourself that feedback. Feel that mind-muscle connection. reps more. Last rep, hold. My hands are shivering, shoulders completely exhausted, and done. So that's it. We are done with our exercise number 2. My shoulders feel pretty warm and completely tight. So now we take a short break and go for our third exercise. For our third exercise, I have set myself up with an incline bench setup. The incline is just one increment above. What we are going to do are front raises. Now you can do the same exercise with cables for more continued tension. For me, that would be a lot of setup, and I want to do it in quick process. So, but if your gym does have a bench which is set near to a cable machine which you can use, the range of motion is absolutely same. I'll explain it as I do this exercise. So simple, you set yourself on a incline, you let your arms completely go down and straight. Remember the way we did our incline bicep curls here, just like this. So this time I have to make sure the cap is not blocking me. I'm just going to turn it around. Oops, the dumbbell just moved away. So get yourself comfortable, head down. Now your front delt is at a stretch. So now we simply do a front raise. Just about there, and slowly come down. The moment you come down, you should feel a great stretch in your front delt because it's moving behind the line of our body. Simple. The placement of your hands is pretty easy. You can keep your palms facing down, facing sideways, and also keep your palms facing up. That gives a lot of more activation actually. So I just am going to continue doing it, placing my arms forward and up towards the ceiling. Yes, I feel a great activation in my front delts. My mid delts are also a little bit fired up thanks to my previous exercise. So they are burning a little bit too, but that's fine. The weight is not much. Last rep, I'm going to hold and relax. So that's one set. Remember, you don't have to go very heavy and swing the weight. It's important to control the weight, the way it comes down and the way it goes up. So that's the reason I went with just 2.5s. I'm going to continue with 2.5s because that was good challenging weight for me in this range of motion. Taking anything heavy and trying to lift it up, putting unnecessary stress on our shoulder is not required. More reps, more growth. So let's take a break and go for our second set. Second set, you can place your legs comfortably down if the kind of bench you have allows you to do that. There's no involvement in terms of our lower body here much. It's all with our shoulders. Make sure your hands are completely stretched out. Comfortably keep your head down, laying on the bench, and then raise the dumbbells up. Palms facing up. Feel the front delt and your mid delt do their work in terms of bringing your hands forward. You can do this exercise on a cable setup too. The range of motion is same. So instead of dumbbells, you will be holding the cable hook and pulling it forward. The tension might be a little bit more challenging because there will be a constant pull even at the lowest position of the exercise, but dumbbells work fine. Just a bit lazy in terms of setting up the entire thing. with the resistance tubes I have. And hold. That's it. We're done with set 2. Take a break, go for set number 3. For set number 3, we are going to lay on our chest and do rate delt exercise. The exercises which we have been doing have loaded my front delt and my mid delt greatly. So for our set number 3, we are going to work a little bit more on our rate delt. What I have realized it, few people might find it a little bit difficult doing behind the back bar races still, because of restrictions in terms of their lower back or their hamstrings. So I figured out that you could do the exercise on a inclined bench too with your chest supported, and it's pretty simple. I'll show it to you now how it is done. You can also take a bit heavier weight, but I'm just sticking to the 2.5s first. I feel a little bit of tiredness in my shoulders, so I don't want to compromise on the form of the exercise. So get into the position, simply it's absolutely the same like we did it in our warm-up set. Instead of flat bench, here we are using an incline to get a little bit more of range of motion. So palms facing up, so we just push up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and I hold. Feel the shivering in my rate delt, my hands, and slowly release. The weight was quite comfortable, so what I'm going to do is switch the weight up a little bit, try to load more and see how it goes. So take a short break, 30 to 60 seconds, and we go for a third set. Fourth set, I just grabbed a couple of 5 kilo dumbbells, increased my weight. The 2.5s felt a bit easy, so let's challenge ourselves with a little bit of heavier weight. Make sure you're comfortably rested on the bench. The bench is firmly placed. Keep your palms facing up towards the ceiling and then push. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I couldn't hold much. That was good. So take a short break and we go for our fifth set. Technically it's the third set for the rate delt, but we're kind of doing it in the same setup, so I consider this as one exercise. So we take the 30 seconds and we go for this exercise again. Let's go for our third set of rate delt raises. Feel free to increase the weight if you are also comfortable. If not, stick to the same weight. Our repetitions and control of the weight is more important. So let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It was good, comfortable, good number of repetitions, and we are done with our third exercise. Take a short break and go for our fourth exercise. For our fourth exercise, I'm going to do my calf raises. Just trying to get my calves to grow better than what they are. Let me see how much is calves are all genetics part 2 in my own transformation efforts. So simple, use a stepper box or a couple of plates to get a little bit of elevation at your toe end, and then drop your heels, take a support bench just forward. Don't have to have anything like straight back or anything, just stand, just lean in front simply, keep all the load on your calves and then push up. That's it. Feel free to fast forward to this part of this video, because I'm going to go do repetitions till failure, and I also recommend and encourage you guys also to try this, because working on our calves is really good for our lower body, for our knees, for our ankle joint. Start feeling blood pooling in my calves, them getting tight. Contractions are a bit more challenging now. Keep going to pushing. Yes, now they are pretty tight. Maybe rep feels a bit difficult. And I'm done. Take a short break, stretch a bit, and we go for our second set. For our second set of calf raises, make sure your heels drop down as much as possible. Step up. You can use shoes. There's no much of a difference doing it barefoot or with shoes. So let's begin. Again, failure repetitions we do until we can't do anymore. So squeeze, 2, 3, and within 5 to 6 reps my calves already start feeling tighter thanks to the first set. Now if you have a calf raise machine, standing calf raise machine in your gym, or a donkey calf raise machine in your gym, feel free to use that, because not much of a difference. I just keep mixing it up between seated and donkey calf raises because I like these most. I get most amount of activation. While doing standing, I tend to bend my knee a little bit, so I like these. But you are free to choose between what you like to do, but definitely do them. And that's it, done. Extremely tight. Just going to massage them a bit, relieve the tension. Yep, we are done with our exercise number 4. Now let's go for our exercise number 5. We begin with our exercise number 5. Before starting exercise 5, you don't have to take much of a break between exercise number 4 and 5, or even between 3 and 4, because we are working extremely different muscles. The stress is completely in different places, so you can instantly go for your next exercise and save some time there. So for our 5th exercise, we are going to do the bus drivers. So simply take a plate and you have to rotate it with both your arms. Exaggerate the rotation. I hope with this angle you can see it. Make sure the plate is just about your eye level, so there's constant stress on your front delt in terms of maintaining it, and when you rotate it, your rear delt and your side delts are working really hard to get you that rotation bit. So let's begin. Oh, those were tough. Try to get 10 repetitions each side. They were tough. So take a short break and then we go for another set. Last set for the day. Let's push ourselves. Shoulders feel great. So this time I'm going to do the leaving the weight, leaving the lower hand out. So if you remember, we did this last time, but I'm going to show it again. So you can try it too. If you're not very comfortable doing with a heavy plate, you can try that with a lighter plate. So we do the drivers, take it up, leave the hand which is down, putting a little bit more stress on our shoulders to hold the weight. Oh, I start feeling the failure coming near. Let me try pushing a couple more reps. Oh no, it's not happening. We are done with our exercises. Now we do a little bit of decompressing our shoulders and a stretch to make sure the muscle goes back to its neutral length, so we don't have any kind of tightness going into our day. So let's take a short break and go for our decompression. Decompressing our shoulders, we simply take a wide stance, let one arm at a time, let our hand, right now my right hand, dangle down and try to reach the floor by extending your shoulder out but not actually touching the floor, okay, and then give it a little bit of momentum to go around a circle. Because it's a ball and socket joint, it can go in circle with a little bit of momentum. So push a little bit, all the time trying to touch the floor without actually touching it. So we are decompressing the joint, just 10 rotations, small circles. You can also do this exercise in between your day if you feel your shoulders are a bit locked up or stressed. Nothing wrong. You don't have to go a big circle because this ball and socket joint is pretty small. So small circles are fine. What you have to emphasize is that de-shrug, making sure the ball comes out a little bit of the socket and then you do the rotations. Not literally, just figuratively. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, my shoulders feel great. For the stretch, I simply hold them and pull it across my body. You can do that, or you can just grab, just a second, I'll just straighten the camera, grab a couple of heavy dumbbells, just grab them. You can use straps or gloves, and we also train our forearms this way, and just stand straight, feel the load on your neck and on your shoulders. So that's stretching the muscle. Slowly. That's it. We are done with our shoulder day. That's a wrap. My shoulders feel great. I don't feel any kind of discomfort or pain. We made sure we warmed our stability muscles perfectly well before starting with any kind of overhead presses, and post completing our exercises, we did our decompression and static stretches. So I hope that's the same with you, and if you did enjoy the workout, working along with me and learned a little bit new things, and kind of made sure I'm sorry, I was a little bit lost on words, but the workouts really were effective enough for you. So if you did, please do like my video, and if you have been following along and haven't yet subscribed, please do subscribe. Also share this video if you think it applies to few other people also whom it could be helpful, because this is kind of like a virtual training wherein I'm going with principles which applies to mostly everyone in terms of gaining strength and the objective of live stronger. On that note, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you tomorrow.